Now, of course, the rollout of coronavirus vaccines around the world will likely be the most important story, and we will be covering that extensively during the course of the year. But today, we're looking at specific events in the diary. As is traditional, we'll start with January, and on the 20th, we'll see President-elect Joe Biden being sworn in as the 46th President of the United States.
Hello, hello, hello!
The big question, though, is will number 45 turn up, as is tradition?
The Democrats are trying to steal the White House. You cannot let them.
In February, the race to Mars is on. The US, China, and the UAE all launched spacecraft back in July last year, and their remote-controlled rovers are due to land on the Red Planet within days of each other.
There's a lot of interest in finding life that's not on this world, and that's what we're trying to do.
In March, we're expecting the trial of Derek Chauvin, the US police officer accused of killing George Floyd in May last year. He's charged with unintentional second-degree murder and manslaughter. His 3 colleagues are accused of aiding and abetting on both counts. April sees the end of an era in Cuba, with 89-year-old Raul Castro set to resign as head of the Cuban Communist Party, the most powerful political position in the country. He and his brother Fidel Castro have ruled the island since 1959.
The personality which has captivated the Cuban people comes across vividly in these pictures.
In May, we'll see the global elite gathering in Singapore for the World Economic Forum, which normally takes place in Davos in January, but was delayed by the pandemic. They'll be discussing their plan for a post-pandemic world, which they're ominously calling the Great Reset. Speaking of delays, the Euro 2020 football tournament kicks off in mid-June, a year later than scheduled. UEFA does plan to allow fans to attend matches in up to 12 countries. The bookies' favourites are England, Belgium, France, and the final will be held in London. The following month, July, we have the Tokyo Olympics, which, like the Euros, will be keeping the 2020 branding, despite being the first Summer Games ever to be delayed. Karate, skateboarding, and surfing will all be making their debut.
It's the first time a lifestyle is accepted into the Olympics.
Also in July, we have the trial in New York of Ghislaine Maxwell, the British socialite who's accused of sex trafficking for her ex-lover Jeffrey Epstein, the convicted billionaire sex offender who killed himself in suspicious circumstances in prison in 2019. If convicted, Maxwell could go down for 35 years. August and Zambia's presidential elections. Opposition leader Hakainde Hichilema will be trying for a 6th and final time, so he says, to win the presidency. He will go up against incumbent President Edgar Lungu. Now, last year, Zambia became the first country in Africa to default on its debt repayments during the pandemic. September the 11th will be the 20th anniversary of the terrorist attacks on the United States. Nearly 3,000 people were killed when terrorists hijacked 4 passenger planes, crashing them into the World Trade Center, the Pentagon, and one was brought down in a field in Pennsylvania. Later in September, another election, this time in Germany, where the Angela Merkel era is coming to an end after 16 years. The Chancellor, who served a record 4 terms in office, says she will not be seeking a 5th.
I will not run as a candidate for the Chancellery, the Bundestag, or any other office.
October, and the 10th anniversary of the killing of the Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi. He was just one of several dictators deposed during the so-called Arab Spring. Libya descended into civil war since his death, but will attempt to end the violence with an election scheduled for December. November, and the UK will host COP26, the UN's Global Climate Change Conference, which will take place in Glasgow. Prime Minister Boris Johnson has personally invited America's President-elect Joe Biden, who has pledged to take a very different approach to his predecessor.
I know more about wind than you do. It's extremely expensive, kills all the birds.
And finally, by December the 31st, we can all look back to a full year of the UK being well and truly out of the European Union and with a new trade deal. But will it be a year of prosperity? As the old cliche goes, only time will tell. Well, thanks for watching our program. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends and family, and even subscribe.